So why is this important for us? Because we need to be sure that as security managers, we are law abiding, and that if something goes wrong, we handle that investigation properly. We follow the traditions of the jurisdiction in which we operate, whether or not that is common law or a codified or civil law, whether or not it's law based on custom or laws based in some cases on religious beliefs. So these are some of the foundations of law that can quite often affect us, where in some cases there's not even a written rule. It's just understood. That's the custom here. That's how we do things. And we have to be sensitive to these when we're operating in another jurisdiction. So why does this matter? Because we have to know what type of legal systems apply to us, how to comply with the requirements of the legal framework, which include things like, what about gathering evidence? If I'm going to gather evidence, I cannot gather evidence in an illegal manner. And there are restrictions on my ability in some cases to do investigations of employees or investigations of an incident. There's laws that deal with employee relations and human resources. Labor law that I also have to abide by. And when I'm dealing with a situation, let's say, for example, we have a major incident, that does not give me just a carte blanche or the blank check to be able to do whatever I want. I still have to follow the labor laws of the country. We also have laws that deal a lot with disclosure. If we've had a security breach, I have to tell, in many jurisdictions, anybody who could have been infected or affected by that breach. And these disclosure laws require us to disclose the fact that we've had a potential breach, in some cases, whether or not that breach was from an internal employee or an external hacker. When it comes to a breach, I must declare that and be able to then ensure I've demonstrated due care in protecting the assets of the organization that I have control over. There's also the question here of warrants. When, for example, I need to gather information, sometimes the police will use a warrant. In many cases, we don't get warrants, but we could be served a warrant. We could have the police come to us and say, hey, we need this information. Here we have a warrant that allows us to gather that. And this is where we should have a very clearly defined policy and procedures of how we would deal with law enforcement. How do we ensure that we comply exactly with the conditions stated within that warrant? Some of the key points to review. As security managers, we have to ensure that our organization's security program adheres to laws and regulations. We have to avoid unlawful investigations or improper security actions or activity. We need to comply with the relevant laws and statutes.